Okay, and good morning, everybody, and happy Motivation Monday. I hope everybody had a great weekend and a great week of sales. Taking a look at the numbers, it does seem like we were doing pretty dang great, so I always like that. It's still actually kind of not so sunny here in San Diego. We're going through June gloom. We just hit May gray, June gloom, and then it's bright and sunny for about 10 months, so I'm kind of dealing with the weather a little bit. So today for Motivation Monday, I thought we'd go back through the whole sales process, kind of, from start to finish, because we hit it over and over and over, into the separate ones, but it's really powerful to see a big picture. I had a lot of agents email me, reach out saying, hey, we went through things one at a time, but I'd really like to get that big picture. So that's what we're here to do today. Based off of that as well, it's off of the concept of, by failing to prepare, you are preparing to fail. Good old Benjamin Franklin quote here. I actually have a friend's dad who used to say this to me all the time too, but it's more about poor planning gives you poor results. It's very true. The whole reason why you have a sales process, a sales concept, a sales script is so you are prepared on every call for everything, so you know where you are comfortably, so you can spend more time working with the client and less time in your head about, am I doing this right? Am I going through this? So it's all about preparing yourself. So happy Motivation Monday. For the new people on the call, just to let you know kind of what we're going to be going through. We'll go through a tip of the week. We'll review last week's as well. We're going to hit AHCP trends as well with some numbers today, and then go through the sales technique, which is going to be just an overflow of the whole sales process. So to quickly hit the tip of last week, it was just about making sure to check the training calendar. It is filling up rather quick. There are events out there in July as well. So make sure to take a look at that if you have not yet. And the tip for this week is really about signing up for it. We have IHC Group that is joining us. They're going to be a new carrier for us. If you aren't familiar with them, on the 14th, they are hosting a webinar for us. So tomorrow, there's one at 8 a.m. PST and also 2 p.m., so 8 and 2 p.m. Pacific. They are bringing us their short-term, their dental and vision, their supplements as well, so new accident, CI, AD&D, as well as some hospital and surgical indemnity plans. So to learn more about these products, they are really great. Go to ahcpsales.com. They're there. You can sign up for this webinar. I highly recommend it. I highly, highly recommend it because you can find out, hey, I want to get appointed with them, or you know what, not worth my time. I'm really happy with the portfolio that I have right now. That's one of your advantages of being an AHCP sales agent, is because you will have so many different options for you as far as carriers go. We have a great portfolio, and you can choose to make your own portfolio great. If you want to take a look at answers that are already out there, they are going to be listed in the carrier section already. The lower left-hand side of the screen there does have a picture of what the logo looks like, so make sure to look at the IHCP group. IHC group, and on the right-hand side is everything that is available to y'all. So to take a look at some trends, overall, as usual, there is a decrease in major medical sales. There was a large, actually, increase in short-term medical sales last week. We actually had about a 25% increase, so really, really, really high. Decrease in accident sales, about a 7% decrease. So nothing too big there, nothing too drastic. Let's take a look here at the critical illness. There's a decrease in critical illness, and it was actually a rather large decrease. It's about 25% decrease in critical illness, so it seems like everybody was focusing more on just making sure your clients have those short-term plans. And there was a huge uptick in dental, like over 200% sales uptick. The dental was a great growth. Now, to give you guys an idea of what the top producers are doing, our top producer, his name is Victor Kravchinsky. He came in at $32,000 in annualized premium, with 16 of it in short-term alone. That means the other 16 is in supplements. And we all know that supplements don't cost as much as a short-term, meaning that when Victor makes a sale, he sells about 1 short-term and 2 supplements on every call. He, again, uses that assumptive sales method that we're going to be going over today. And Victor did sell about $3,000 in dental and $4,000 in accident alone. So they're easy add-ons. They bring a lot of value to your client. They're also fairly inexpensive to add on to the policy, and they bring a lot of value. So keep in mind with Victor, $32,000 is a lot to bring in a week, and with 16 of that being in short-term and 16 being in supplement, he's going to have, pretty good commissions off of that. We have Laura Smith, who came in at 16,000 in annualized premium, just rocking the golden rule short-term. Almost all of that was golden rule. Christopher Helgeson, he came in at 16K with 11K in NHIC short-term. Just to give you some idea as well, the 5 main states that the sales were in were Texas, Florida, Mississippi, Colorado, and California. So if you are licensed in none of those states, first off, maybe one of those things to take a look at, like what does it take to get licensed in those states? You can always call our agent services. They can help you with that. If there's additional carriers that you want to be licensed with as well, call agent services. That is what they're there for. I'll actually be with them tomorrow, so feel free to harass them a little bit because I'll be there doing the exact same thing for you guys. So with all of that being said, we hit the tip of the week, we hit the trends, and now we're going to jump into an overview of the sales process. So we did spend the last few weeks talking about the sales process and taking each step apart and analyzing each sub-step under it. And really, honestly, each step has 4 or 5 bullets in there, and each of those sub-steps have 4 or 5 bullets in there. If you haven't gone through and listened to those videos, they are in the training section at ahcpsales.com. I've gotten a lot of questions about them. I've had a lot of people reach out. They've sparked so much great conversation. A lot of you just wanting to fine-tune your process. Personally, I do think it's important to break down each step, but it's also important to know the whole process from start to finish. One of the things to work on is it's a pretty good idea to work on your process from left to right. So improve your introduction, then fact, then presentation, then close. A lot of agents like to do it the other way. Hey, what I want to do is I just want to close really hard. And then, I'll figure out how to present the product right. And then I'll figure out how to actually listen for the product. And then maybe I'll introduce myself if I want to. Not the best idea. Honestly, if you start from left to right, work on your introduction, it's going to be easier to start with a very wide funnel instead of narrow the funnel. So again, the whole point of the sales process is you are creating a funnel for your client to say yes at the end. So starting with that introduction, that is the wide openness of the funnel, and you are funneling it down to the close. If you don't work on your introduction, you're actually making a very narrow funnel for your clients to fall into, and they're not going to fall into it as easy. So just kind of keep that as a visual. So we obviously know that all sales processes, no matter what you're taking a look at, when you have the Kirby vacuum salespeople coming to your door, if people who've done door-to-door life sales, if you've ever walked into Best Buy, which I've done recently, and they've tried to get you to buy a computer, this is what they're going to do. Every sales process, I know we can agree, has these 4 steps. So the introduction, the fact-finding. After listening to the fact-finding, they're going to present you the product, and after presenting you the product, they are going to want to close you. So we're just going to go over each main section and kind of what goes along with that. So as far as it goes, with the effective sales process, we're going to start with the introduction, and keep in mind this whole concept of this process. If you want to Google more about it, it is called an assumptive sales process. Assumptive sales processes are used best for intangible items, meaning things that your client can't physically hold. So a computer is something tangible because I can walk out of the store with a computer. Intangible is things like insurance, education. So those types of sales processes are best using this assumptive sales process. So with the introduction, it's the wow factor. That is going to be broken into those 4 steps again. So it starts with just the introduction about you. The second part is the why you're calling, or why are they in your office, really. The biggest thing about the introduction that people care about is going to be called the WIFM, the what's in it for me, the benefits statement. And don't worry, I'm going to give you an example of a solid introduction in a second there. And then the process is in the next step. You're going to notice a trend with everything that we're going to go through with the assumptive sales process is that at the end of the introduction, the fact-finding, and the presentation, they all end in what's called the processes or the next step. We call that setting your client at ease, or a set at ease statement. The whole thing is your client is worried through the whole process of what is going to happen to me? What are they doing? Why is this happening? When you use the set at ease statement, you actually fix that point of their brain, so they will not listen to that point and listen back to you. So set at ease statements are extremely important. A lot of agents skip that, and then their clients don't listen to what they're saying. So the processes in the next step is something that's going to happen in everything. So a really solid introduction is doing something a little weird, so they're going to listen to you, explain why you're calling, giving them why should they care that they're on the phone with you, and then end in a process is our next step. So an example. So it would be, hi, is John there? Hey, thanks for taking my call, John. It is Steve. I'm a health insurance agent here at AHCP, giving you a call because you requested to be contacted about health insurance. What I do here is actually save my clients on average about 15% on their health insurance. Does that sound good to you? Oh, great, it does. Well, John, what I do here is I'm going to ask you a few questions about your health insurance needs. Together, we'll customize a plan to best suit those needs. From there, we'll make any changes, and as long as you like what you hear, we're going to go ahead and get you applied for that plan today. So something a little weird in the beginning, engaging them, telling them what I do, and then in the end is going to be a benefit statement. Not going to lie, that is actually something stolen directly from Victor. So next is going to be moving into your fact finding, because what you said in your introduction is, hey, guess what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you questions, I'm going to present you a plan, and in the end I'm going to close you. So we're going to jump right then into fact finding. So you set up your fact finding, so well, I'll ask you a few questions, just like you said. Best assess your needs. That is what you said at the end of your step one. So first you want to find out their current insurance situation. Obviously, that's going to let you know what you can sell and what you can't sell. If they currently have major medical insurance, most short-term plans you can't sell them. If they are canceling their major medical insurance or their job is ending or what's going on there, this is where you can find out if they have a qualified life event under that current insurance situation. The second is, okay, so you know what they have, but why the heck are they on the phone with you? Why did they walk into their office? What is the reason for their call? What is the reason for their visit? The other thing behind the reason for their visit is you want to find out what they have not liked. You want them to think negative about other things that they've looked at. So great, out of all the plans that you've been looking at, what about them have you not liked, just so I don't make that same mistake today? Kind of give them that, lead with the negative, let them think negative about that. Then what you're going to do is jump into the plan usage. I like to start with doctor's visits. So how many times in the past, or how many times a year do you go to a doctor on average? Just wanting a number there from 1 to 10. So if they say, you know what, I never go to a doctor, I'm a 40-year-old male and I don't believe in going to the doctor, that is absolutely fine. Or if it's somebody who goes to the doctor 10 times a year, I need to know that. Second thing I like to find out too is how many times in the past 10 years have you had medical bills over $1,000? The reason why I ask that is that lets me assess how often are they going to hit their deductible. In the past 10 years, if they've only hit their deductible once, might not be the best idea to give them the lowest deductible plan because they're going to wind up paying a lot of premium that they could be doing other money with, like saving, or maybe paying for an accident policy, since on average, accidents are a majority of claims. Also with plan usage, I like to ask about prescriptions because that's going to let you know if they take prescriptions. If so, how much are they? Kind of lets you figure all that in there. Another thing you may want to consider too is maybe they're calling because they have something big planned. Any major services or any appointments that are scheduled. I do these steps as well if someone's calling me asking just for a dental policy, because not a lot of dental policies are going to cover major services in the first 12 months, and I want to be honest with my client because we get paid on retention as well for policies, right? So if we get an advance, I don't want to have to pay that back, right? So I want to make sure they're going to keep the plan. That is one of my goals. If we can build a solid foundation, then we're going to have more consistent paychecks. From plan usage, I like to jump into budget, so I can get you the best healthcare package in the world, but if I haven't kept it affordable, I'm not helping you, right? So what is an affordable monthly budget range I need to stick within? The thing about fact finding is don't move on to your next step until you get the answer you want. Find another way to ask the question, create a conversation around it. You want your client to talk here. The point with fact finding is you are leading with open-ended questions where they have to spend their time talking about themselves. Also with fact finding, what you want to do is you want to listen, which is called hearing it out. You want to feed it back to the client, so repeat back what the client said, and you want them to verify that that is right. What this is doing is this is making them think, A, you're listening, and B, when you present the plan, that they know that their best intentions are in mind. So with all these steps, I hear it out at the end. So I hear it out, I feed it back, and I clarify. It sounds really stupid, and to you it's going to be repetitive. To your client, it makes a world of difference. It's such a small step. Every sales workshop that I've ever attended in the past 15 years has talked about that process in slightly different ways. I just dumbed it down so I could understand it. So hearing it out, feeding it back, and clarifying it. Budget. Don't move on to budget or past budget if you don't have it. I can't tell you how many people like, you know, their budget's anywhere between $200 and $1,000, and the agent moves on. I'm like, well, what is it? 200 or 1,000? You want to get a fairly good number. A lot of people play stupid with you too right away. Like, oh, I have no idea how much money I should spend on health insurance. I would say about 80% of your clients have run a budget and have some idea maybe of what they paid or what they can afford. Budget's usually one that agents need to spend a little more time on to make sure that they're going to get the honest answer from the client. And the last one, because budget's going to be that heavy hitter, it's the start date, so you can find out when they want the plan to start. At the end of all your fact finding, what you're going to do is you're going to actually sum everything up in a sum up statement. So, you know, Mr. Client, you're calling me today because, you know, you're completely unhappy with your insurance. It's not working for you. You are currently insured, but you're going to be dropping it at the end of this month. You want a plan that is going to start July 1st. That's going to help you pay for your doctor visits, help you a little bit with your prescriptions, and make sure if the big what if happens, nothing crazy is going to hit your bank account. And we need to keep this plan within $300. Is that the type of plan you are looking for today? So sum up statement. You're summing everything up, and I want a yes right there. Once I get that yes, I'm going to give them another explanation of my process. Great, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to present you an insurance package. If we need to make any adjustments from here, we absolutely can, but again, as long as you like what you hear, we're going to go ahead and finish that application today. At the end of all the steps, minus the close, which I mean you can do one at the end as well, you want to explain what's going to happen to your client. So again, you go through the fact finding, you're going to hear it out, feed it back, clarify on every step. You're going to do a sum up statement at the very end, and then you're going to explain the process and move on to your plan presentation. The thing about the plan presentation, make sure you have all your ducks in a row before you start. I have some agents that just jump right into a plan presentation, have them put together a package. Stop, put together that package. Another thing is, before you do that sum up statement, you want to make sure that you have a package put together, because if their budget is not realistic, you want to stop and talk to them about that. The point of fact finding is that is where you're going to deal with the objections. Fact finding, this is why it is about 70% of your whole process, is because if they say, hey, I want a plan that's going to start a week ago that was going to pay for all my hospital bills that happened last Tuesday, that is where you stop and you have that discussion, not at the end. You know, you don't want to waste your time. You don't want to waste their time. You know, if they want a plan for literally $15, you're going to have stop and have that discussion. If they say, I need all these benefits and my budget is literally $15, you know, you're going to have to take a look at maybe an ancillary product or a dental policy, like a cash dental for $15.50 a month. Fact finding is where you deal with those. That is where you will actually get your objections. That's where you can kind of clear your client's mind. That's where you can set proper expectations. Your expectation setting is in the fact finding. So when you do this plan presentation, they're not going to be surprised by anything. You know, you want to make sure that you have the policy that's going to fit their needs, that they can do a start date. Because sometimes people say, well, I need a policy that starts on the 15th. Well, actually, you know, none of the policies I can sell you right now start the 15th. They actually start on the 1st. Will that be okay? You know, and if it's not, we may have to go separate ways, you know, or we may have to take a look at another angle. So that's why we deal with that in fact finding. After fact finding, you get into the plan presentation. Keep in mind with fact finding, you're asking open-ended questions. Presentation, you're asking questions that can only end in a yes. The whole thing about your plan presentation is that you need to find times to tie it back to the consumer, tie it back to the story that they told you in fact finding. So what you're going to do is you're going to start with a recommendation. So, you know, great, I've listened to everything. We'll have a recommendation. It's going to be an excellent fit. What I'll do is give you a full explanation of the benefits. As long as you like what you hear, we'll go ahead and get you applied today. And then you jump into the benefit usage. The thing about the benefit usage is that you're going to go through and tell them about the important things that are important to your client and anything else that you have to legally talk about. So I like to go through the deductible, the max out-of-pocket, how doctors work. I like to make sure I tell them how prescriptions work. If there is a coverage period max or a lifetime max on the short-term policy, I want the client to be aware of that. So that's where you kind of run through all those things. Again, you want to tie it back to their situation, and when you're explaining these things, Try to use large numbers your client can understand. A lot of times when agents are explaining the deductible, they talk about a $5,000 accident on a $2,000 deductible. You want to use big numbers. So it'd be something like, so earlier you told me how you were painting the house a few years ago and you fell and had to spend 4 days in the hospital. So let's say that happened again, and the bill was $100,000. This is how it would work. The deductible on this plan is $2,000, followed by a coinsurance of 90% or 80%, 20%. So 80% for you, 20% or 80% for the company, 20% for you, till you pay a max out-of-pocket of $5,000. So in total, you'd only pay $5,000. So write this down. I want you to grab a pen and paper. So you pay the first $2,000. That's your deductible. Then we split the bills 80% for us, 20% for you, till you hit a total spending of $5,000. So that $100,000 accident would cost you just $95,000, or would cost you just $5,000, and the insurance company would pick up $95,000. How does that sound? Sounds great, right? So that is the whole point. You're using big numbers, $100,000 so your client can understand it. I recommend using $100,000. It seems kind of silly when you're explaining a $2,000 max out of pocket, but you know what? If I say, hey, you get hit with a $100,000 bill, you're responsible for just $2,000, and the insurance company is going to pick up $98,000, the customer's going to remember, like, whoa, the insurance company is paying for a lot. Also, if you're doing benefit usage and you sell the ancillary products, like a critical illness, you sell an accident product, you sell the Triomed that's really, really popular that we're selling just a ton of, tie it into that example afterwards, okay? So also with this package, you get what's called the Triomed that has an accident medical expense. So if you have that big, what if accident, instead of having to pay that $5,000 because you have a $5,000 Triomed, you'd be responsible for just $250 instead. So it's kind of like a deductible for your deductible. How does that sound? So tie in the ancillary products there as well. Then you can jump into your dental, which you should have on every sale because that is going to be something that they can use right away. It's going to help your retention. After that, you do a confirmation of benefits. So do not move on, and we talked about this last week pretty hard. Do not move on until they will confirm those are the benefits that they want. You should have kept this within their price range. They'll ask you what the price is. Don't worry, I've kept this within your budget, but I just want to make sure that these are the benefits that are going to work for you and your family. Don't move on until you get a yes to benefits, then you can give them the price. And that is actually going to lead you into the last step, the close. Excuse me. So you get a yes to benefits, then you can give them the price. If you don't get a yes to benefits, you don't give them a price. You have to go through. If they won't give you a yes, maybe there's something they don't like. Maybe they don't like the ancillary products. Maybe they want another one. So you said something about accidents, but what happens if I go into the hospital? And you can add a hospital indemnity plan. So wait to give them the price until you get a yes to benefits. It's going to be uncomfortable. Hold out. Just bear with them. Your first few times, trust me, you are the uncomfortable one, not the client. After a while, it's okay for there to be that uncomfort. Zig Ziglar was also a very big fan of using silence. Don't talk first when you say, are these the benefits that are going to work for you and your family? That's when you shut up. You let the client respond. It may take them a minute or two. I'm not going to lie. And for you, that is actually you asking for the sale. So your heart's going to be pounding, because we want to close it. Wait. When you get that yes to benefits, you give them the price. You're going to tell them what the next step in the process is. So what I'm going to do from here is I'm going to, collect some more additional application information as we walk through that. Then I'll collect your payment in the form of a checking, savings account, Visa, MasterCard, or Discover. At the end, what will happen is that we will get application numbers that's going to help us track your application through the whole underwriting process. And then what I do is I move into some basic demographic information. Okay, and can I get your middle initial? Okay, now can we verify your address? All stuff that I should probably already have, but stuff that the applications aren't going to ask for, so I can keep the process moving the whole time. But keep in mind, when you get the yes to benefits, that is them agreeing to be closed, okay? So you already had that agreement. That is what an assumptive sales process is that I'm assuming through this whole thing that you will buy at the end, that we are assuming together that this is the product that you want. It is actually a really powerful sales technique. Here's kind of a big overview for you guys. You can see all the sub-steps in there. Again, at the close, if they can't give you a yes, or they have to, think about it, pray about it, go wash their dog and talk about it later, whatever, it's going to be their excuse that if you're not able to overcome, you need a clear direction, which is a time, date, and reason for the call. And you can end with a yes, a no, or a clear direction. That's it. All of your calls should and all of the visits in your office should end in one of those three. You should always be able to, whenever you're done with the client, mark, yes, they bought it, no, they're not, or this is when I'm going to follow up. There should never be a maybe. Never be a maybe. If you have to make those three categories on your desk and have a little tick sheet, do so. So overview of the process there. So the introduction, the fact finding, the presentation, and the close. All of the more in-depth videos are going to be in the training area of ahcpsales.com. This is also going to be loaded in there probably later tomorrow, maybe early Wednesday. So if you want to go back through and listen to this, absolutely feel free to. That's what they're there for. So if you have any questions or anything you want us to cover for next Motivation Monday, the next topic is going to be Tammy finishing up her series there on the 25 common sales mistakes. So she's going to finish pretty strong with number 21 through 25 there. Don't hesitate. Reach out to training@ahcpsales.com. Goes directly to me. I'll make sure to answer your questions. Again, everything that we go over is going to be in the training section. That's where you'll find the calendar and all of our pre-recorded videos. That's also where we put the videos from webinars that we host. So this week when we were hosting the webinars for you, once we get done, we will be loading them into that area. So please, if you have a question, guaranteed about 15 other people do on this call. So ending here with a pretty strong quote that there are no secrets to success. It's the result of preparation, hard work, and learning from failure. So that is something I very strongly believe in. You should be prepared by knowing your process. You're going to have to work hard each day, and then you're going to learn from your mistakes. And what we'll do is, from that's going to help you be successful. That's going to let you build your base. So if you have any additional questions, feel free to email. If not, I hope everybody has a strong Monday.